Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Ringside Report MMA for Thursday, January 27th. Tonight on the show, what's next for the UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou? Jake Paul invests in the UFC, and Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje, official for UFC 274.
Let's go!
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, AJ.
Yo, what's up, homie, man? What's up?
Wait
you
a
know
second.
what? I just realized it.
Wait a
What?
second. We're missing somebody.
Are we missing?
Here. Where is he?
Is he frozen? Frozen part 3?
No, he's just not
4?
here. He's just not here.
Yeah,
you
you gotta break the
not
news.
here. No Fred
Freddie's got
tonight.
COVID again.
No,
He's got COVID again.
That's not it.
Okay, you can say what you want, but I'm just saying.
He's on a hot air balloon
It's,
expedition. Say the truth.
Yeah, it's called Big High as a Kite, man.
That's right.
Magic cookies and all, man.
Fred's with Les Montgolfières tonight. All right, that's what he's doing. The frozen hot air balloons. No, Fred's got other things he had to do, and he couldn't make it tonight. So it's just me and AJ. Unfortunately, AJ, I'm already...
Listen, I was going to say something.
I'm
I just
strapping in
realized
here.
that
I'm getting ready. I'm worried about what's going to happen here tonight.
Strap in, but eat those thin. First of all, we were having a debate before the show started about like Oreo cookies. You cannot have Oreo cookies other than the way they've been made for like the last decades upon decades. They pulls out these like wafers and then he calls them Oreo cookies. And I'm like, no, man, that shit ain't Oreo cookies. You can't change Oreo cookies. It doesn't make sense.
The Oreo thins.
No, man. The only things that you get are wafers when you go to church. That's about it, man. No Oreo cookies. Come on. What's this world coming to now?
What do you mean?
I can't take it anymore.
What?
You don't change it, man. You just can't change it.
Do you know how many different kinds of Oreos there are?
Bro, I
other
only
than
know one.
original Oreo?
The one that my grandmother gave me that I dipped in milk, chocolate on the outside, white on the inside. Pure harmony, like Seinfeld said.
That was a black and white
Don't
cookie.
mess
That's
with the
different.
cookie.
That's not an Oreo.
Well, yeah, but it's still the same thing, man.
It's
the
not.
same
It's a
thing.
completely different kind of cookie.
No.
You ever had a
Talking
black
about
and white
Oreo.
cookie? It's different than an Oreo.
Yeah, Oreo.
It's different.
No.
And Oreo thins
First of
are
all-
actually really good. I don't know if anybody else has had Oreo thins here, maybe watching. I see Angelo. I see Brooklyn Lizard. I see Headstrom Bacon. I think Oreo thins. We're going to
Hey,
get to the
Headstrom.
MMA. We're going to talk about Francis Ngannou, but AJ brought this up, so I'm not letting it go. Headstrom Bacon
Wait,
says
hold on.
carrot cake Oreos are amazing. He's converted to carrot cake
no.
Oreos. Look at
Lord
that.
help us.
I have never
That's
tried
crazy.
those.
I've
never
never
tried
even
those.
heard-
Never even.
How-
I don't know if I've seen them, but I've definitely had Oreos that are the wrapped in fudge Oreos. It's Oreos, but they're wrapped like in chocolate, so it's like a chocolatey Oreo thing. That's pretty good. I've had the double stuffed Oreos. I don't like the double stuffed so much. I like original, but I gotta say, I think the thin Oreos are the best. I think they're my favorite. Call Mr. Christie. We have a resolution. Thin Oreos win. I think the thin.
No,
You've
not at
never
all.
tried
Come
them.
on.
You've never tried them.
I
You
don't
don't
need to
know.
try them.
You do need to
I'm
try
not
them.
gonna try them.
You can't
No,
knock
I
it
don't
until
try-
you've
no.
tried it. It's ridiculous.
Listen,
Ridiculous.
before the show started,
How dare
we were talking
you?
about ice cream. I said I'm the type of guy that likes. I don't like to go outside of the norm. Chocolate ice cream, vanilla ice cream, pistachio. I'm gonna go crazy with Napolitan. Maybe I'll even go crazy with banana ice cream.
What's Napolitan?
Like I said, like it's Napolitan, man. Chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry.
Neapolitan.
But I'm not-
You dick. It's not
Same thing.
named
Yeah, but it's
after
Italian,
people
man.
from
It's
Napoli.
Italian.
No, it's not. It's Neapolitan.
No, we said that last time. Remember Freddie did the
Napolitan.
whole shit.
not.
Napolitan, man. And I'm gonna. Yeah, listen, and on top of it, I don't like when you start putting out rainbow ice cream and fucking.
Angelo
triple
likes
chocolate,
double stuffed
carrot cake.
Oreos.
No.
Double stuffed. Angelo likes them double stuffed. I think
I'm
double
sure
stuffed
Angelo
for me
likes
is
double
too much.
stuffed.
It's too much for me. I don't like all that stuff in the Oreo. I like them thin. I like it's like bite size. You take one bite, the Oreo's done. You get all the Oreo in one bite. You don't get the twist off with the thing in the middle, but I think that's too much for me. I'm converted now to the thin Oreos. When I buy Oreos, and I do, I get those thin ones. The thin ones, I'm telling you. I'm going to buy you a pack. I'm going to make you eat them. I'm going to pin you down and force feed you Oreos, my friend.
No, man. It won't happen, dude. It won't happen.
Oh, it will.
I would have.
Let's see you shrimp out of my Oreo grips.
If you get me in an RNC and make me eat them, then I'll have no choice. But even
That's
at
right.
that point, there, I'll rather like pass out than swallow. I can't. That's what she.
That's what she said.
But you know what?
You sick bastard.
Hey, listen. First of all, I want to
horrible.
apologize to John. I want to apologize to Headstrong Bacon. And the reason why is that I answered a message from him in October. I think it was October or November when he sent it to me, and it was just like a couple of days ago that I answered back.
Good job.
And now I told him now you just text me or whatever. Anyways, next time he's in Montreal, we're gonna go out and I'm gonna bring him to some like cool places. Angelo will come along as well. You know, we could always call Angelo for an Uber. So listen, if you want a good Uber, call Angelo. By the way, do you know that you can just call him direct and he'll come? Uber.
Really?
You know that? We could promote that. Yeah.
We could call Angelo. We could call Angelo direct for a ride.
Go to Jonas, man. Angelo, go to Jonas.
Damn.
That's
I didn't know that. I would do that for sure.
I didn't know that either.
Next time I need a ride somewhere, I'm calling Angelo. Angelo, can I do that?
Well,
Can I call you? I'll call you. That'd be great.
Anyway, so I gotta apologize to Headstrom. That was like.
And apologize to me for your slight on my Oreo choice. How dare you?
No.
What's the matter with you?
No, but I'm surprised. Listen,
you better try them.
Listen, Dave had a really cool hat on, a really nice hat, and then the show starts. I'm like, "There's a cool hat. Keep it on. Keep it on." He starts the show. He takes off the hat. Then he starts with this thin wafer, like anorexic Oreo cookie thing. Listen, man. Some things you just don't mess with. You don't mess with the Big Mac, and you don't mess with the Whopper.
You ever have a Big Mac with bacon in it? It's pretty good.
Never.
It's pretty good.
No.
You can mess with it a little bit. I think that you can improve on things. You can change things. I think you can. Oh, Angelo's going to give us his phone number. Angelo could be the official driver of Ringside Report. I love it.
I think that's a great idea.
Angelo's going to give us his number.
With the number or whatever, why not, man?
I think it's private for us. I think it's private for us.
But what if people want to get in touch with you, Angelo? How do they do it, man? Do we is there a text message that we can send you or whatnot? There's got to be something because Angelo supports the show. We're going to support Uber. And Angelo is a great driver. I can tell you that he met us at Orange Julep. There wasn't a scratch on his car.
Angelo's the top man.
Clean as a whistle. He is the top man.
Yeah. Angelo's the man. All right. You know who else is the man? I know people want to hear us talk about MMA. Francis Ngannou. Angelo's going to start to say, come on, guys, what about the MMA? I know he's ready for it.
What about Jake Paul? We got Jake Paul, too, for you tonight.
Yeah, we'll talk about Jake Paul. We'll talk about Francis Ngannou. We're going to talk about Zabit. We got Zabit news. We're wondering about him.
What?
There's a Bellator show. Yeah, there's a Bellator show coming up on Saturday. An injury, big injury in the UFC. Some big fights announced. So we're going to get to that. But I want to start with Francis Ngannou and Dana White and everything that happened at UFC 270. Francis Ngannou with an amazing performance over Cyril Gane using the wrestling, which no one thought he would do. If you said Francis Ngannou is going to beat Cyril Gane, I think most people would have thought by knockout. Francis Ngannou is going to win a fight. How's he going to win it? By knockout. But he won it by decision with takedowns and wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Some real basic stuff. A nice scissor sweep in the 5th round probably won him the entire fight.
Well,
Francis Ngannou.
It did.
I mean, well.
It did, Dave. Let's be honest, man.
I mean, who
Let's
knows?
Be honest, because going
who
into
knows?
the 5th.
Yeah, going into the 5th, it was tied, right? It was a tied fight. 2 out of the 3 judges scored the fight 3 rounds to 2 for Francis Ngannou. Now, Cyril Gane gets the takedown early in the 5th round. Francis Ngannou is able to use a scissor sweep and reverse the position, get top control on Cyril, and kept top control for the remainder of the round, winning the round and winning the fight. So really, if it were not for that one sweep, beautifully timed, beautifully executed by Francis Ngannou, Cyril Gane may have won that decision 3 rounds to 2. because he would have
been the
taken
champion, man.
the 5th round. Yeah, it was very close, and I called a Cyril Gane win by decision. I thought that these guys were
close,
so
man.
evenly matched that it wouldn't get finished. I thought that Cyril would go the distance and win. I thought if this fight goes the distance, smart money is on Cyril Gane, and I really did think the fight would go the distance. It did. Cyril almost pulled it off. Like, it was pretty close, so I'm not so disappointed in my prediction. I got it wrong, but I didn't get it wrong by much. Like, it was close. It was a scissor sweep, and the fight was very, very tight. And Francis Ngannou played it perfectly, and I'm still so amazed, even several days later, with how he played that fight, the game plan of that fight, losing the first 2 rounds with the striking game, getting outstruck, getting outpointed by Cyril Gane, deciding to change the game plan, go for the takedowns. Huge takedown in the 3rd round, slam Cyril Gane, and then he realized, we got this. This is what we do for the rest of the fight. Switch the plan, and it worked to perfection. An amazing, amazing performance from Francis Ngannou. You can take nothing away from him. Add to the fact that he's coming in with a bum knee, a torn MCL that he's going to need surgery on too. He's going to be out 9 to 10 months according to his manager. So Francis is going to be out now for a long stretch for most of the year here, and we'll see what happens at the end of the year if he can sign another contract with the UFC and have another fight. We'll see, but right now he is basically done with the UFC. I think they have him under contract until the end of the year, and then he'd be a free agent. And Francis, at the post-fight press conference, didn't seem too keen on fighting again here in the UFC, which we could talk about. But the fight itself, amazing performance from Francis Ngannou. Great performance from Cyril Gane. He won the first couple of rounds. It was very, very close, but there were definitely some differences here in the fight, and Francis Ngannou was able to bridge that gap. It's a game of inches. You make a couple of mistakes, and you could lose a fight, and Francis Ngannou was able to use his size and strength advantage to out-wrestle and outpoint Cyril Gane. It was really a smart way to do it. He wasn't going to knock him out. He wasn't going to be able to touch him with that punch. So he used wrestling. You're going to take it away from Francis now, AJ?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to take it away from him, but there's so much emphasis on, Ngannou did so well, this and that. Let's not forget, Cyril Gane did just as well, if not even better, coming into a title fight, the first one ever. 10-0, man. He's paved the way. And you know what? Ngannou had to do everything possible to beat this guy. And he beat him in the 5th. Like you said, it was because of that scissor sweep. It was a mistake on Cyril Gane's positioning with his high knee. Easy sweep, man. That's if you want to see basic scissor sweep in jiu-jitsu, that's it right there. Generally, you don't get caught with that. Usually what you get caught when you're tired or you're just like a beginner or whatnot. I can see it happening. Look, Francis got lucky with that scissor sweep, because if Cyril Gane would have been able to keep that top control and held him down, he would have won that fight. And all through the fight, we got to look at,
you can't say he got lucky with the scissor sweep. You can't say he got lucky. You got to give him credit, man. He went for it. It worked. Listen, there's no luck. I mean, it's not like
because Cyril Gane put himself in a bad position, and it was just a momentary lapse of reasoning that put him in that position.
That's not
that he didn't
luck.
Capitalize and take top control.
To recognize a mistake on your opponent, to recognize that mistake is not luck. That's skill. That's technique. That's fight IQ.
Look, Cyril Gane was the advantage at that point. Up to that point, Cyril was an advantage. He decided almost, I don't know what he wanted to do, if he wanted to go for side control or something. I got to rewatch that moment to see.
He got out-grappled. He got out-grappled.
Listen, what? No, he didn't get out-grappled.
Yes, he did.
Submitted. Listen,
well, he got out-controlled. He got out-wrestled. He got out-wrestled. He got out-powered in strength as well. Francis had a good 10 pounds on him. He's bigger than him. He's stronger than him. But he got out-wrestled. You got to give it to Francis Ngannou. He out-wrestled Cyril Gane to win the fight.
I got to give it to Cyril Gane in the clinch, being able to turn over like Ngannou and put him up against the octagon many times. Yeah, he got taken down at one point where he got flipped. That was just a weird momentum where he was able to just literally get Cyril and throw him down. Cyril's only mistake, in my opinion, was that he wasn't using his combinations as much. He wasn't engaging and pushing the pace. He won the first 2 rounds, in my opinion. The third round, the fourth round, I mean, there were certain points where I'm like, oh, Cyril's going to take this. The fifth round, man, I'm like, Cyril's back and whatnot. Because we saw, like, Ngannou, like, kind of slow down at one point where you're like, oh, man, this is the end of him. But really, he played it smart. He probably couldn't stand, couldn't kick to go to distance, but he did what he had to do on the ground. Look, it took the fifth, that scissor sweep, to really call that fight. And I believe this, in the third and fourth round, if Cyril would have, like, kicked up the pace, put the pressure, use his combination, use his angles, use that distance, and really just go for it.
Maybe.
He could have beat him, because you could see Ngannou many times at one point. He had open mouth, dropped hands, and it looked like he was not going to make the end of the fifth. Look, like I said, it's the experience of Ngannou over Cyril. Whatever's going to happen now with Cyril stepping out because of the ACL and the miss and all that kind of stuff, which could take up to 9 months, to be honest. We won't see Ngannou be fighting this year. I don't think so. I mean, it could happen in December.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Let me ask you about Cyril for a second, Mr. Cyril Superfan over here, all right?
No, I'm just saying Cyril is a fantastic athlete that deserves the title shot.
He may be the next champion. He may be the next champion, right? If Francis goes away or Francis is injured for a period of time, they may make an interim champion. If Francis doesn't want to come back to the UFC and says he's leaving, they may strip him of the belt and put Cyril in a new, title fight, and Cyril could be the next champion. Sure, he may come back and beat Francis one day too. That's possible. But let me ask you this about Cyril Gane. Does he need to leave France to become a better wrestler, to be a UFC champion that's going to stand up to the toughest of competition over the next few years?
That's a good question. I mean, if you look at
Francis
at the coach,
Francis did. If you look at, right, first time with Stipe, he's fighting out of France, gets out wrestled, loses the fight. Second time with Stipe, fighting out of the U.S., Extreme Couture, Las Vegas. Doesn't get out wrestled, doesn't get taken down by Stipe, knocks him out. Stipe couldn't get that takedown. Francis defends, and then all of a sudden Stipe's in a world of hurt, and he's in big trouble because plan A went out the window, and then plan B is getting knocked the fuck out, right? So Francis needed to do it. We know the history of guys from Europe, not particularly great wrestling because they don't have that system that they do in the U.S. with the collegiate, and there's just so much wrestling talent.
Of it all.
That's it. The talent in the States, it's just better than it is in France for wrestling. So does Cyril have to leave? Would you counsel him to leave and go to a American top team or something in Florida? Would you counsel him to go away to a big camp in the States and just try it that way? Because obviously, if Francis Ngannou is going to take you down at will, maybe there's no guy right now in the heavyweight division that's going to do it. But I'll tell you, Stipe might, have some success doing that to Cyril Gane. If they wind up fighting, like say Francis goes away and he goes to box and his leg's broken forever or whatever, right? Say the UFC says, okay, well, it's going to be Cyril and Stipe. Stipe could give him some real problems. If Francis is out wrestling you, Stipe with his technique may out wrestle you as well. And then where are you? Right? Then where are you at that point? And then maybe you fight some other guy who Curtis Blades fights you and somehow out wrestles you and beats you. Like, who knows? Who knows what happens for Cyril? Like,
but let's not forget.
There are parts of his game.
How many submissions has Ngannou had? How many submissions has he had in his career?
There's a difference. There's a difference.
But Cyril has 3 submissions at heavyweight.
Off who? Who'd he tap?
Yeah, but still he tapped heavyweights.
What kind of game? What kind of ground game do they have? Who did he tap? What kind of he did that off being Cyril Gane by his strength, his size, his athleticism. You know who he tapped? Don'Tale Mays. Do you know who that is? No, you don't. Yeah. Nobody does.
But listen. The thing is this.
Come on.
Dave, listen. Let me get back to what you were saying.
Real world.
About that over
he's
the
not.
week.
He's not tapping Stipe. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
No,
it's not going to happen.
Stipe. He's not going to tap. He's not going to tap like DC or any of these guys
or anybody top level.
No, but the thing is this: is that you have the potential of a super athlete and future champion in Cyril Gane. Like any other fighter, you win, you lose, you come back stronger. Hence, George St. Pierre. We've seen that. We've seen that through many, many fighters. Mind you, some of them fizzled away, like BJ Penn, which like shocks me. But like, and I love BJ, and I hope he's listening. But sometimes shit happens. But going back to what you were saying about like the coaching staff, you look at the coach of both these fighters, Ngannou and Cyril Gane. They all come from Coach Lopez. Coach Lopez did something right to get two of his guys to the big game. He got both of these guys. You're right about one thing. Lopez probably doesn't have the grappling knowledge like someone like a Khabib Camp.
Sure.
Or anybody from Midwest U.S.
Yep.
where wrestling is ingrained in you at 3 years old. In Europe, soccer is. Boxing, savate, kickboxing, all martial arts in France, are amazing. But when it comes to the wrestling scene, not that there's not. You have like judo in France. You have you have jiu-jitsu in France. Top level.
Yeah, I know.
But
Answer the question.
When you don't have the
does he need to go? Does he need to leave home?
He doesn't need to leave home per se, but he needs to coexist with another coach. Lopez, as a tactician, as a striking coach, as a mentor, he did the job. He got Ngannou and Cyril Gane into the heavyweight title in the UFC. The guy has done something great. My only thing is, and I agree with you, is that you need to get a guy like Cyril. Okay, and we've seen that with many guys, even here in Montreal, where they've left camp, have gone to like the Rufus Gym or ATT or like wherever. But yes, we need to get Cyril Gane into a camp. You get Cyril into a camp like the Khabib camp. You get him with
Daniel
Khabib's
Cormier.
guys of
Daniel
wrestling,
Cormier teaches
or
wrestling.
Daniel Cormier.
I mean, could you imagine how good Cyril Gane would be if he wrestled every day with Daniel Cormier?
Well, Daniel Cormier wrestles a lot with Khabib.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Go to California.
So that's what you need to do.
Join up and say, you know what? Sure, bring, do some stuff with Lopez and stuff, but and hell, do your camps with Lopez. But when you're not in camp, maybe take a trip to California and spend like a good chunk of time there and, become a better wrestler, because it will help your overall MMA game. It will make you a better fighter, and it will make you a better striker. So I think, Cyril needs to address some things after this fight. He can't just say, oh, well, let's go on and do the same thing, because if he does, the same thing's going to happen next time around, if it does even happen. Now, Dana White was not at the UFC 270 post-fight press conference, which is rare. He didn't put the belt on Francis Ngannou, which is also rare, but he says to ESPN that, well, he had other things that he had to do backstage, and he just wasn't available. He was too busy to do the UFC 270 post-fight press conference. After Francis Ngannou, who, according to Francis's manager, the UFC was aware that Francis was injured going into the fight. So I wonder what they thought Francis's chances were of winning that fight, especially the way he did. And Francis wins the fight, does the press conference, and says, I don't have another contract with the UFC. I'm a free agent at the end of the year. I have to take 9 to 10 months off just to recover from this surgery I have to do for my knee. I want to box.
You know what?
Francis is saying he wants to box. He's not interested in fighting John Jones because it kept getting promised to him, and it seems to never happen. It doesn't seem like Francis is interested in sticking around with the UFC. So as impressive an MMA performance as that was, I don't know if we see Francis again in the UFC, which is kind of disappointing, not just for Francis, but for the UFC heavyweight division. Here we had this amazing champion who could knock you out, who could out-wrestle you, who's gigantic. He's got a great story coming from Cameroon and doing everything that he's done. Francis Ngannou is a living, walking movie. The guy is incredible. And it seems like the UFC may not have him around anymore, which is really disappointing. And I wonder what they're going to do with their heavyweight championship. Now, with Francis going to be out most of the year, what do they do? Francis was out for like 3 months and they created an interim title. I wonder how long it'll take him to do it again. Got to figure they'll do it pretty soon, right? And who fights for that interim title? I think Francis, just the way he was talking at the press conference, I don't know if he fights again for the UFC. I really don't. I think it's gonna turn into an ugly situation with the heavyweight champion, and that sucks.
Look, man. You know what? It sucks for Cyril because even if he ends up taking the belt on
Sucks for
interim,
Francis. What do you mean, Cyril?
No, it sucks for Cyril because even let's just say Ngannou walks away and Cyril eventually becomes the champion. People are always going to question, like, were you really the champion when you couldn't beat Ngannou, but you were so close? So it's so close, man. It was razor-thin loss and a razor-thin win, And I believe that with Cyril, if he gets that camp, like you said, a DC camp, a Khabib camp, a Gable Stevenson camp, you get that guy into your camp. Stevenson. You're going to win, man. And that's the thing, man. That's the future. Cyril has that future in his hands. Ngannou as well. But I'm like, I don't think he's going to walk away. I think the deal's going to be made. I know the UFC plays hard. And you know what? According to Dana White, like weeks ago, they sat down, they had supper together. They didn't talk too much about contracts and whatnot. But like anything else, usually it's not the fighter that really wants to negotiate. It's always the agent, and the agent sometimes is a dick and stalls and that kind of stuff. We see that many, many times.
Sure, blame the agent, not the promoter.
The agents, the agents are usually like the ones that are like the meatheads. You saw that in boxing, you saw that in hockey, you see that in football and basketball. Sometimes they fuck up your career.
The promoters are never meatheads too. Have you seen some of these promoters?
They are. They are. There are promoters that are meatheads. We can say a lot. Like, you could go as far as Don King and whatnot. Like, that literally killed a few people in contracts.
Okay.
Allegedly. But the thing is that I think Ngannou can't get better visibility than being a heavyweight champion in the UFC and defending that belt. Yeah, he could go to a Bellator. He's gonna fight Ryan Bader.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I can believe that. Ryan Bader did it, and he went there. But how many people know Ryan Bader over Ngannou?
Obviously,
let's be honest.
Bellator or any other MMA promotion would be a step down from the UFC. I mean, that's obvious. I don't think anybody's arguing that. I think what people are saying is, well, Tyson Fury, the heavyweight boxing champion, seemed pretty interested in fighting Francis Ngannou. And if Francis can swing that, then yeah, that's the move. You want to talk about more notoriety, more money, more everything? The UFC heavyweight champion, unbeatable, walks away from the company and goes on to fight the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. UFC heavyweight champion versus boxing heavyweight champion in a super fight. The man with knockout power like Francis Ngannou takes on the greatest ever, Tyson Fury. I mean, that's pretty awesome. That's a pretty awesome fight. And Francis Ngannou, you can say, yeah, well, then what does he do after or whatever? They could do the rematch. Tyson Fury loves a rematch, just as Deontay Wilder. Okay? And then once you do one or two or possibly three of those Tyson Fury fights, you walk away. You've got like $300 million in the bank. Who cares what you do next? You call Dana White and say, I'm not interested, man. Like, if he can get the Tyson Fury fight, it's over. He doesn't need to do anything else.
Look, man, he's not looking to walk away from the UFC. He's
yes,
looking
he is.
to do what Conor did. No, he's not. What he's looking to do is, if you look at a lot of articles that have come out, he's looking to have, like, the UFC literally on board with him to go box and still be in the UFC, just like Conor did. Why can't Ngannou do that if Conor could do that? Conor opened up a can of worms. We know that. Everybody else wants to do it. But for sure, I'd like to see Ngannou fight Tyson Fury. Let's be honest. Tyson Fury is going to slaughter him. All right?
Yeah.
You're talking, he's going to slaughter him. Being in the first fight where he's going to make maybe 60, 70 million off of that fight, maybe 100 million. Maybe even 200 million, depending on the pay-per-view points.
I think Cyril would be a tougher boxing match for Tyson Fury.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think Cyril's a better striker. Francis has more power, but without the ability to actually connect, which he won't have that ability against Tyson Fury, who's going to be much larger, much taller.
And he's a boxer, man. He's a professional
and he's
boxer
very, very good.
at a heavyweight division.
There's no way Francis connects. Cyril has a better chance because he's, he has an easier time connecting. But even then, Fury would probably beat him too. So, yeah, I don't think Francis has a shot at winning. It's not about the shot at winning. He has a shot of getting the fight.
100%.
It doesn't matter who wins or loses. Look at Conor. Conor fought Floyd, and it changed his life forever. It changed who he is as a fighter. It changed everything. It didn't matter that he lost. He made $100 million. He made more money.
No, he made more.
Well, whatever he made. Sure. Time. He made more money in that one fight than in all of his previous fights combined. So,
look,
yeah.
The craziest part, Dave, is that Conor, you're absolutely right. Not to jump in on you, but Conor is closer to $1 billion than millions, based on the Mayweather fight, where he was able to. Well, he was able to.
I think that's
to
a stretch.
Different companies and his proper 12. No,
right. Off of that, since then, sure.
All that and everything, everything that he does, man, clothing, cologne, everything that Conor touches is gold. Even when he loses, the bastard lays out a golden egg. And Ngannou always wanted to box. I said that on our last show. His dream was to be heavyweight champion. He wanted to be Muhammad Ali, man. He wanted to be the George Foreman. And he's got it, man. He's got the puncher's chance. But it's a different story. And for sure he trains boxing and he's super good. But you're going up against a guy like Tyson Fury, man. It could be AJ. It could be anybody, man. Tyson Fury is going to come and maul you. And if he mauls you, there won't be a second fight.
There won't be a second fight.
Yeah, you can
who cares?
Yeah, but you know what? The thing is that he's not looking for that. What he's looking for is he wants Dana White, the UFC brass, to agree, like they did with Conor, to promote it. And I think that's what's going to happen. Now, will that happen with
I don't know why you think that's going to happen.
Boxing? Listen, I believe it's going to happen. The boxing match will happen. He's in Cameroon right now. He's not doing his operation. Once he comes back from Cameroon, then they'll do this operation. They'll really see how bad it is. It might not even take 9 months. You know what I'm saying? But he doesn't have to worry about takedowns and anything to do with Muay Thai kicks, knees, whatever, all that kind of stuff. He's just got to worry about boxing. So if boxing happens, it's going to happen this year. And you know what? Give him his dream, man. Give him that dream. Even if he loses, who cares? Did it really bother Conor after that? No. Conor became a rich son of a bitch.
Are you aware of how many months are in a year?
Look,
does that ever come into your thinking? When I when I tell you, right? Let me just understand AJ's thinking for a second, okay? Mm-hmm. It is January 27th as we speak today, right? Basically, January's over, right?
Pretty much. Go February 1st, man. Go high.
Sure. I just told you that Francis Ngannou is going to need surgery and will be out for 9 to 10 months to rehab his knee, right?
Man,
no, but that's what I told you. That's what his manager's saying, right? Okay.
Yeah,
and now you're yeah, because you know more than his manager about Francis's injury,
well, I know
right? Because you're a doctor and you're very close to Francis, right? No, hold on. Let me just get through the year and let me illustrate how what you're saying makes no sense. And now you're trying to tell me that Francis is going to fight Tyson Fury this year, which would mean, let's say 9 months, right? We're in, say, February. 9 months from February would be what? Help me out.
Say November?
October, November?
Say October, November? Yeah, that makes total sense, man. And I'm going to tell you something.
I don't think
Let's not forget one thing.
And then he's going to come back to fighting and right away box Tyson Fury? After the surgery, after being out for 9 months, then he'll come back and right away box Tyson Fury.
They're exaggerating on that, and I know that. I know they're exaggerating. They're just trying to push this weird narrative, and I'm going to tell you what it is. We've seen Conor McGregor have his leg snap. The guy has a bionic leg, and not even in 2 months, he was already slamming a heavy bag. He's ready to fight. His injury is much greater than an ACL.
He's ready to fight.
Conor is ready to fight like 2.5 months after that injury.
Really? So
Well,
why isn't he fighting? He's not ready to fight.
Look, he's ready to fight now.
No, he isn't.
He's ready to fight. He might not be fighting at 155, but he's ready to fight. The thing is this.
It's
I don't
one
see
thing
9 months for recovery
to rehab.
time for the ACL.
It's one thing to rehab for your leg to be able to walk. It's another thing to rehab for your leg to be able to kick, let alone absorb a kick.
Have you seen him kicking the bags, man?
He's not ready to fight.
Man, he's ready to fight, man. I'm telling you. He's been ready to fight months ago. And I'm telling you, Ngannou will be boxing by the end of this year. It's going to happen. October, November.
I thought you said he was going to fight in the UFC. Oh, so you think the UFC is going to help Francis put this boxing match together at some point this year? You think the UFC and Francis and Tyson Fury are all going to work together, even though the UFC and Francis can't even figure out a contract for the UFC? They're going to help him negotiate this big boxing fight? How does this work? It's all AJ's plan.
No, it's not my plan. It's what
I would bet
Ngannou
against
wants.
it.
Ngannou wants the UFC to help him fight the WBC champion of the world, just like they did for Conor.
I will bet you $50
and not do it for Ngannou.
I'll bet you $50 Francis doesn't fight again in 2022. Boxing or MMA. He will not fight in 2022 again. His fight that he did already will be it. $50. Done.
We've already done this, man. We've already done this.
Done.
And I'm going to tell you, before, and December 31st, man.
He's not fighting.
He's fighting. He's fighting.
No, he's not.
He's fighting. If it's not in the UFC, it's in boxing.
He's hurt.
He's hurt now, man.
He hasn't even had surgery yet.
January 27th.
All right.
He's able. Listen, man. He's able to take a trip out to Cameroon and whatnot. Look, we haven't seen any medical reports to say how bad this ACL is.
Except his manager is saying he needs 10 months off.
Yeah. So what? Yeah. His manager. His manager is not the doctor. Give me the doctor, man, and then tell me. That's what I'm telling you, man. There's a lot of
doctors usually do that.
Well, you know what? Doctors will come out and let you know how long it's going to take, man. From surgery to recovery. This is his agent, man. I don't believe it, man. I'm telling you. $50 is down. Ngannou is fighting by the end of the year. I
think the next time we see Francis Ngannou, it'll be sometime in 2023 in the UFC when he settles his contract. I don't think the boxing match with Tyson Fury will ever materialize, and I think eventually Francis, after sitting out and not doing anything for a while, when the boxing negotiations fall apart, I think sometime in the summer of 2023 is when he'll return and fight for the UFC heavyweight title. That he will have been stripped of by then. It'll be a Randy Couture situation. He'll go away for a while, come back, and fight for the belt and lose. Right? I think Jon Jones, Cyril Gane would be the good fight to make for the heavyweight title, or maybe Cyril Gane versus Stipe Miocic. Either way, I think Cyril is in the title fight that happens at some point in 2022. I think they do a new UFC heavyweight champion at some point this year. Francis gets stripped of the belt, and we have a new champion, and Cyril may wind up being the heavyweight champion at some point this year. I think it'll be Cyril against Stipe or Cyril against Jon Jones, depending on what the UFC feels like doing. But Cyril's in there.
Jon Jones, man. Look, Jon Jones needs to fight now. There's enough talk. I mean, he's got a lot. Like, you had Michael Bisping that was dissing him and basically saying that Jon Jones will get knocked the fuck out by Ngannou.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
I can believe that. And then you got like Daniel Cormier saying, "Listen, man, all you're doing is like talking shit, tweeting. That's all you do is tweet. Like, you know what? It's time to stop like talking and actually fighting." He's absolutely right, man. Something has to be done. So Jon Jones right now.
I'm so shocked that
fight.
Daniel Cormier said something negative about Jon Jones. Shocker.
Wow.
Shocker.
Look, he's right, man. Let's be honest. It's not shocking. It's like you're talking so much, man. There's a point when you got to fight. When's the last time this guy fought, man?
It's been a while.
2009 is 2019? Like, it's been a while, man.
No, I think it's 2020.
I gotta check. But
Dominic Reyes. It was, I will tell you right now, it was against Dominic Reyes. I definitely know that. In February 2020. Yep.
February, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
February. So the thing is this. It's time to fight now. You got to do it. You're in the heavyweight. You want to be in the heavyweight division. You got to do it, man. And I don't care who he fights, man. It could even be Cyril Gane, Stipe, whoever, man.
I think it should be one of those guys, right? John Jones versus either Cyril Gane or Stipe. That should be next, and I think, that's probably what's going to be the heavyweight title fight if Jones is in it. I don't know if the UFC goes in that direction. They don't seem too happy with John Jones. I don't think they're going to try that hard to get him in there. I really don't. I feel like they're going with I think they'd be more likely to go with Stipe and Cyril rather than John Jones and Cyril. If they have an interim champion. They could have an interim champion. They did have an interim champion when, right? I mean, Cyril was going into this fight as the interim champion.
Exactly.
But I feel like if Francis is going to be gone for a long time and the UFC knows that after his injury he doesn't intend on coming back, they may just strip him entirely. They'll take the belt off of him.
100%.
If Francis is publicly saying, if he says in public, like, yeah, I'm not signing and I'm leaving the UFC, then they'll take the belt off of him and create just a champion. But we'll know who the real champion is. Francis Ngannou. Until somebody beats Francis Ngannou, he's a champion. All right.
We can agree with one thing. John Jones will not be fighting Ngannou at any point.
No. That's not happening.
At any point right now.
So
we need to have John Jones fighting. So we need to have him fight now. He needs to fight someone. He needs to fight a name, and they got to do that now. I think Stipe would be an amazing way for John Jones to come in, and if he could beat him, then man, there's going to be a lot of talking. There's going to be a lot of talking. So
I think John Jones, of the Stipe, Francis, Cyril trinity, I think Stipe is the most beatable for John Jones. Right? If you're John Jones, I think Stipe would be the easier fight. Stipe's kind of towards the tail end of the career, he just got knocked out in his last fight. He's not as big and powerful as the other two guys. I think Stipe is the least dangerous for John Jones, but either way, I'd like to see him fight one of those guys, and hopefully it happens at some point. Zabit has been out for quite some time with an illness, but he announced that he's training and returning to the UFC, so I think we'll probably see him in 2022. More likely seeing him than John Jones. I just don't know about John Jones. There's a lot of Twitter talk. There's a lot of, I don't know. I'm not sure. Fred had details on it the other night. What else is going on? Charles Oliveira is going to fight Justin Gaethje, UFC 274, on May the 7th. That'll be a good fight.
Sick, man.
I've got Oliveira. I think it's hard to go against Oliveira right now. He looks so sharp. The jiu-jitsu, the striking, everything is just rolling on all cylinders for Charles Oliveira. He is looking incredible right now, and I will give you the betting odds, early betting odds on that fight. We have Charles Oliveira as the favorite, minus 155, Justin Gaethje plus 130. I think that number is going to go even further in Oliveira's favor as we approach the fight. So if you can get that number, I would go there with Charles do Bronx. I think he outstrikes Gaethje. I think he outgrapples Gaethje. Charles Oliveira seems to be on another level, 155-pounders right now. I'm a big fan. So that's a big fight, UFC 274 in May. May the 7th. Every time I think about, May, it's like May is so far away. It feels far away. It's still a while away, right?
It's a while away, man. I mean, there's a lot of changes that can happen in between.
John, I'm sitting here now. I'm sitting here now, one kid. By May, I'm going to have 2 kids. I'm going to be a different man. You know what I mean? By that pay-per-view, it'll be a different life. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. What else do we got? Vicente Luque taking on Bilal Muhammad April 16th. A fight night main event. That is a very good fight at 170 pounds. Luque and Muhammad. I thought Vicente Luque was possibly on his way to a title shot. Right?
That's what I thought too.
It's not happening. He was looking really good. What happened? Why is he not getting a title shot? He just beat Michael Chiesa, Tyron Woodley. Who's getting the next shot at Usman? Usman's talking about moving up to 185. You think he does that? Usman?
Why not?
I don't know, but Khamzat is
huge to begin with.
Khamzat is saying like, "Oh, Usman's running away from me. He wants to go fight 185 because he doesn't want to fight me at 170." And if you look at the 170 division, Usman has pretty much beat everybody, and I struggle to come up with a legit contender for Kamaru Usman. Kobe Covington, ranked number 1, he beat him twice. Gilbert Burns, ranked number 2. I guess Leon Edwards is there, but Usman's already beat him. Vicente Luque was up there. I thought he might be next for the title, but he's going to be fighting, as I said, against Bilal Muhammad on April 16th. Maybe with a win there, it might entice Usman to stick around for a fight. Luque's ranked 4th. Muhammad's ranked 5th. I could see the winner of that fight getting the shot at Usman. Other than that, though, not many challenges at 170 pounds. Then you got 11th ranked Khamzat Chimaev, who seems like the next one, who seems like a guy that's going to tear through the 170 division, who still doesn't have his next fight announced in the UFC, which is pretty annoying. Like, why hasn't Khamzat had a fight booked already? Why isn't he fighting again? Right? That, to me, is like a big mistake here. Like, what are we waiting for to put Khamzat back in the octagon? We need to figure out if he's the number 170-pounder in the world. The last time he fought was in October against Li Jingliang. We thought he was done. He had COVID. He was out for like a year. He came back in October of last year, 2021. We're sitting here 2022 already. And we haven't seen Khamzat fight again. After October, he's like, "Oh, I'm ready to fight in December. Let's go." And then nothing happened. And
Which
still
doesn't make
January,
sense.
he hasn't fought all January. They haven't announced anything, so he probably won't fight February or March. What are we waiting for here with Khamzat? And this is a problem to me at 170, where you've got Kamaru, who's this champion who hasn't got anybody left to face because he's beat everybody. And then you got Khamzat, this stud on the rise. And it's like, yo, let's fucking meet in the middle and let's have these guys fight. Of all the guys at 170 pounds that you could pick to fight Kamaru, it would be Khamzat. And if not, let Usman go up, move up to middleweight, and fight the winner of Israel and Robert Whittaker. I'm down to see that too. I think that'd be a good fight. If Israel and Kamaru, they can put their friendship aside and fight each other, good. But let's go already. I don't know why we're waiting around for Khamzat. I'd like to see Khamzat fight Kamaru. Let's settle it. Khamzat says he's ready. Let's see.
Yep, he says he's ready. He's ready, and he says he'll smash them in 2 minutes. He'll smash Burns in 2 minutes. He'll smash Usman in 2 minutes. These are big words, man. But you're absolutely right. This is the guy, and he doesn't want him to go up. He wants to fight him now. Khamzat is the guy, man. He's the most dangerous guy out there. And I was one of the guys, man, when he came back, you know, coming from COVID, being out for so long, like there was talks that he was retiring, like you said. I'm like, I don't think this guy has what he had prior to leaving. Man, he came back and he looked better than anyone I've ever seen.
He looks
way
amazing.
Better than he looked before, which he looked amazing before. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
This guy is dangerous. And he has fighting words, man. He says, I will smash Gilbert Burns and Usman in 2 minutes. And you know what? This is a guy that I can actually believe he can do that in 2 minutes. This is no joke, man.
Me too. I want to see it.
This now. You want to see that now,
Let's
man.
go. Let's go. So hopefully the UFC gives that to us, you know, because Kamaru's got nobody else.
You're listening to us. Do it.
Like Kamaru, he's beat all the top contenders. He's got nobody else to fight. Khamzat is this new guy. He looks like he's tearing through the division. Give him a fight with a guy in the top 10 or the top 5. Let him prove himself, and then give him Usman. Or just, why wait? Just give him Usman and see what happens. Roll the dice. I don't think the fans would mind. I think some of the top contenders in the division might mind, but they already got their shot at Kamaru when they lost. So, you know, you got no reason to complain. And if you got a complaint, fight Khamzat and see how that goes for you. So let's go, man. I'm tired of waiting around here. I don't know.
You know, and And the
There's
craziest part is
fights
that
that
Dana
need to
actually
be
said
made.
that he was one of. I was gonna say is that Dana said is that this is one of the best prospects he's ever seen. So if that's the case, man, you gotta get it done now.
That's it. Let's move here. Let's move. All right. Jake Paul invests in UFC's parent company, Endeavor. He bought some stocks in Endeavor with a business partner. They're trying to effect change by being stockholders. So they're going to push the UFC to give more of the money that they've invested to the fighters. We'll see how that works out. I mean, I don't think that's a big deal. Do you?
Look, you know what? It is a big deal because, like I said years ago, before anybody knew Jake Paul, I said that this guy was going to change the face of sports. I said that way back before everybody, Rogan,
You could buy
everybody, and I'm going to
stocks.
say it now.
You could buy stocks in Endeavor.
could
You're
buy
not going to
stocks
change
in
the face of
But
sports.
I don't have Jake Paul $50 million check to fight Conor McGregor money. Not yet. But if Jake Paul wants to give some cash to the Ringside Report, it'd be great. But listen, that's the difference. This guy here has the means and the backing and the marketing, and everybody knows Jake Paul. Even Angelo knows Jake Paul. We don't want to talk about Jake Paul back then, but everybody talks about Jake Paul. He's on mainstream everything. Not only on sports, he's in everything. WWE, UFC, CBC, anything in me, Jake Paul. And that's the difference. The guy has the money to come in and actually cause some problems because he is a shareholder. And he'll probably come in with a big chunk of change. He said this. He says he wants to come into the UFC to be able to shut Dana up and give these fighters more money that they deserve, and more benefits like they deserve, and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I'm telling you. Listen, man, if I was Dana White, I'd be taking this serious because Jake Paul
nice talk. I just don't really
has the means to do it, dude.
Yeah.
He has the means. Look,
he doesn't have the means to buy the UFC to do like a takeover by buying stock, and he can't do that.
Mayweather. He knocked out Jake Paul knocked out Tyron Woodley like there was like no one's ever been knocked out. Best knockout of the year of 2021. I'm saying this
a good
guy
right
is
hand
there.
doesn't mean.
But he's a smart. I'm gonna say businessman because anyone who's able to pull the shit that he's done, this guy is no joke.
He's a good self-promoter. He's very good at self-promotion.
He's great self-promotion, but now he has stocks.
How is he as a promoter, though? How is he as a promoter?
Really good.
A self-promoter, he's really good. As a promoter, you know that lady boxer he's got on his undercards that he's trying to make into a star? Do you know her name?
I did know her name, and I can't think of it, but I know what you're talking about. What about it?
That's my point exactly.
But that doesn't matter.
No, but this is the one fighter that he's trying to promote. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. He's trying to push her, and this is his idea of, like, promotion. When it's not about him or his brother, this is who they're trying to push, and no one cares. So, I don't know.
Look, man, he might change a lot of shit because...
He might.
Look,
he might not, though.
He's talking to his fans, and he's saying, listen, go support Francis. Get him to get the contract that he wants from Dana. The guy has a lot of power.
He's getting rich off fighting. I haven't seen him enact any kind of change, really, for anybody else.
Listen, man, 4 years ago, we didn't even know who this Jake Paul was.
Sure.
4 years ago.
No, he's a
You know what I'm
star.
saying?
I'm not
Imagine
debating.
What's gonna happen in 4 years from now.
I'm not trying to tell you.
Man.
I'm not trying to tell you he's not a star in combat sports right now. What I'm trying to say is I don't think he's a great labor leader that's going to bring the UFC fighters to the promised land.
Dave. I'm a Jake Paul believer now.
Okay.
I didn't believe in it 4 years ago when my nephews told me the best boxer in the world was going to box this guy Jake Paul. I'm like, who the hell is that? I don't know any Jake Paul in boxing. There's no way in hell. But this guy did. This guy was able to change the game that night when he sold over 2 million subscriptions on YouTube at $20 a pop.
Yes, I understand.
Filled out an arena of 30,000 people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. As guys in the combat sports world thought this guy was a joke. Everybody did.
There goes AJ with the Jake Paul origin story again, bringing that to us.
I have to, man.
Always love hearing that one.
Listeners and all that kind of shit, man.
Yeah.
I love hearing it because it's the facts.
All right.
We were the first. We called it first. But all I'm trying to say is this, is that Jake Paul has the means to change.
Okay.
Maybe the UFC game.
Maybe not.
And I hope he does in some way.
Maybe he does. Maybe he does. I hope he does. I hope he helps.
Hope he does.
I hope he's a great help, but I don't know how much this move by buying stocks in Endeavor, the parent company, of the UFC really does, but we'll see. Jan Blachowicz, former UFC light heavyweight champion, was supposed to headline a show on March 26th in Columbus, Ohio, against Alexander Rakic, and Jan is injured. So that event now has no main event. So hopefully they find a new main event for that one. UFC doing a fight night, starting to do fight nights in March outside of Las Vegas. Most of the fight nights have been in Vegas, right, for the whole pandemic, and now they're starting to move away. They're going to do one in London in March, and now March 26th, they have one scheduled for Columbus, Ohio. Hopefully they can find another new main event for that one now that Jan Blachowicz is
maybe
injured.
Brazil, too, Dave.
That'd be
With
nice.
Charles, they were talking about that. That'd be awesome. You know,
No.
it's time to start moving, man.
No chance for Canada, I'll tell you that much. I don't think they're coming here anytime soon, although you never know. You never know.
We
March seems
have
to
Charles
be
El Jourdain here.
March seems to be the month where things may start to open back up and start getting more normal than they have been over the past couple of months. I'm not going to say back to normal because I don't think we ever get back to pre-pandemic normal altogether. I think there'll always be something looming over us, but I think March seems to be when we start to move back to normal. I wonder if we'll ever be able to go into a place and not have to wear a mask. I wonder if that'll ever happen. I'm not sure.
It'll happen at some point.
I'm not sure.
I'll tell you something. You know, we talk about the norm, and it hasn't been normal for over 22 months. But one thing that Dana White did is
okay.
he kept this
yeah.
going.
You don't
He
need
kept
to
this going. Like,
kiss his ass.
No, but I'm just
It's
saying,
fine.
I'm not kissing no ass. Dana
You are,
White
though. He
was
kept
able
it
to bring
going.
entertainment.
UFC kept
Kept it
going
going,
throughout the pandemic. So did Vince McMahon. Thank you very much. We love them so much.
Not
okay.
as much as for sure, Vince.
No,
yeah,
exactly.
you know,
The same.
But let's be honest.
The same. They didn't take a week off. They didn't even cancel an event. UFC canceled an event or two. WWE didn't. They never stopped doing TV. More so than the UFC, they kept going. So, there.
Yeah, but Dana was first before Vince. Let's be honest.
No, he wasn't.
So
Vince was
yes,
first.
he was. UFC
in everything.
No. UFC. No, UFC was the first to host a show, man.
In the pandemic?
Before the WWE.
No, they weren't.
Yes, sir.
That's not
Yeah,
true.
man. Before Vince. Check it out, man.
They did shows the whole time. Are you talking about with a crowd or just a show in general? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the shows and the crowd.
You're wrong.
Dana White. Okay, we'll have to.
When the pandemic started, they never stopped doing SmackDown or Raw. Those shows kept going. Live TV every week. UFC had to take a break. They couldn't go anywhere. They had to scramble. WWE went right to Florida in the Performance Center. They set up shop, and they were broadcasting. They never stopped. UFC had to cancel an event or two. WWE, more programming during the pandemic than the UFC. And you could say I'm wrong, AJ, but you're actually wrong on this one. I would know, AJ. I actually follow both companies very closely. You only follow one. You know what I mean? I think you should trust me on this one.
But I'm starting to, man. I'm starting to watch AEW quite a bit now. I'm watching WWE. The Dark Side of the Ring, man. I was watching some pretty cool stuff last night.
What's a heel?
The heel is Johnny. Our own Johnny North, who is not a heel.
No. Tell me what a heel is. You know what a heel is, right? What's a heel?
Well, a heel is like the bad guy.
There you
He's
go.
like,
there you go.
listen,
You're starting
man,
to learn. You're starting to learn a couple of things here and there.
No. Listen, I love wrestling, man. I used to follow wrestling when I was a kid a lot, back in like the Hogan days. Actually, even before that, you know, Andre the Giant, you name it,
yes,
man.
you're
All
very
those
old.
guys.
We understand.
You know, Mad Dog Vachon.
Yes, you are ancient. Yes.
Was the best, man. He was the best.
Brock
I'm gonna tell
Lesnar is wrestling this weekend. I'm sure you're very excited about Brock. I know you love Brock. Do you know who he's wrestling on Saturday night?
Yeah, he's wait a sec. It's what's his name? Hold on a sec. That bald guy.
Yeah. Former Bellator fighter Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Bobby Lashley. I was trying
Yes.
to get his name. I wanted to say the darker guy, you know?
Oh, the gosh. I'm sure you did. Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. Bobby Lashley used to fight in a company called Bellator, and Bellator is doing a show on Saturday night to celebrate Bobby Lashley. No, they're actually doing it to, just have some fights. Ryan Bader is in the main event against Valentin Moldavsky Moldavsky is a 29-year-old Ukrainian, the interim Bellator heavyweight champion, 11-1 in the promotion, and he comes in as a minus 286 favorite over the plus 220 Ryan Bader. These odds courtesy of Bet99.com. Bet with us over at Bet99.com. Moldavsky and Bader are the main event here at Bellator 273. I'll tell you, it's not the most exciting Bellator card I've ever seen. The co-main event is Benson Henderson, former UFC lightweight champion, taking on Islam Mamedov. And Mamedov coming in a pretty heavy favorite, minus 450. Henderson plus 333. So the former UFC guys in tough here. I like what I've seen from Moldavsky. Bader seems to be slowing down a little bit. He's 38 years old. He's been in the game for a long time. He got knocked out by Corey Anderson in 51 seconds in his last fight. I think Moldavsky probably puts it to Bader and gets the victory. Right now, Bet99 has the total rounds under 3.5, minus 129, over 3.5, plus 100. I think this one stays under. I think Moldavsky gets a finish of Ryan Bader. I like the under in this one. Minus 286, Valentin Moldavsky.
But let's not forget, Moldavsky there has earned 5 out of his 6 Bellator victories by decision.
Yeah.
So he could go over, man. This guy goes the distance. But you're right about Bader. Bader's 38 years old. There's a lot of wear and tear on this guy. You know, everybody has their day in the sun. I think his time is coming. But it's going to be a tough one to call, man, under or over. Because if you look at, statistically, Valentin goes the distance, man.
That is true. And he did go the distance with Timothy Johnson, I think, in his last fight. And that is the same Timothy Johnson that Fedor smoked when they fought. Fedor, beat the shit out of this guy, knocked him out in a minute 40.
He's still fighting.
He knocked him out in a minute. Moldavsky decisioned him, and then his next fight was against Fedor, and he got knocked out in a minute 40. So you might be right about this. This may go over because Moldavsky, beating Johnson by decision, beating Roy Nelson in 2020 by decision. I mean, Roy Nelson's tough to put away, but goddamn, man, he's lost a lot of fights in a row. Bader might even be the pick here. I mean, Bader might even win. I don't know. You might be right with the over on this one. I don't know. Moldavsky, he's got a good record. He's got everything going for him. He's 10 years younger, but the fact that he went to decision with Tim Johnson, a guy that Fedor just knocked out, makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder, man. So if you had to pick,
maybe Bader. Pick Bader to win. Let's just go with Bader.
I don't think Bader.
Bader did not look good in his last fight, though. That's the other thing. It's you can say Moldavsky's, but Bader in that Corey Anderson fight looked pretty bad. Corey Anderson smashed him.
Yeah.
51 seconds. Corey Anderson's good, but 51 seconds? I don't know, man.
Look at this guy, man. I'm telling you, Valentin,
whatever.
Man, he's on a 6-fight winning streak, the longest active streak in the division.
I won't even be watching it.
I'll be watching it.
I'm going to watch the Royal Rumble. It's on the same time as the Rumble. Fuck out of here.
Oh, okay. So I'll keep you up to date with what's happening. But going to the next fight with Benson Henderson, it's the same thing, man. This guy's time in the sun is probably past. And I love Benson Henderson, but he's not the same guy. And the guy that he's fighting, Islam, this guy hasn't lost since July 2009. The guy's on a 20-fight unbeaten streak. I mean,
20-1.
Hello.
Yeah, he's serious.
20-1. He hasn't lost since 2009, bud. Think about it. Where were you in 2009? I know where I was, but let me tell you, that's impressive. And the guy's name is Islam. Any name with Islam that's connected to Khabib or anything of those camps, put your money on them.
They're usually pretty good at fighting. He's from Dagestan. His name's Islam. He's won 20 fights in a row. Very Khabibish style, Come on. So I got Islam to win.
I think Islam is going to win.
Islam
And I think
Mamedov,
it's gonna
Islam
go
Makachev. Oh, a lot of guys named Islam in the
Islam,
fight game
whatever.
these days. They're good
Man.
at it. They're good at
Magomed,
fighting.
anything, man.
Yeah.
Anything. Anything that says Dagestan, which has more champions in Dagestan than any other country, being it in wrestling, being it in sambo, even jiu-jitsu now, and even boxing, you name it, man. I always told you, man, whatever they eat in Dagestan, please send some to us.
Okay.
Because these guys are killers, man.
And
Well,
that's
and by the
that's
way-
about it, AJ. That's about it. I'm going to be back here tomorrow night, right after SmackDown, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Johnny North. We're going to be previewing the Royal Rumble. We got a big weekend to get ready for. It's Royal Rumble weekend. I'll be back with Johnny North tomorrow night, as I said, 10 p.m. Eastern Time for the Rumble preview. And then Saturday night, right after the Royal Rumble, we will be here to review everything that went down at the Rumble. And if you are a member of the team, don't forget to join. You'll be able to call in. And I think we'll have that function for the watch-alongs as well. You'll be able to call in on some of our
Wow.
UFC watch-alongs for members only. If you go to join.ringsidereport.net or donate.ringsidereport.net, you sign up to become a member, and you'll be able to call in to the show, starting with the Royal Rumble show, right after the Rumble. Maybe not every show that we do, but definitely some of the bigger shows, some of the watch-alongs, and definitely for the Royal Rumble review show, we will be taking calls. Let us know your thoughts on the Rumble. Members only coming up Saturday night right after the WWE Royal Rumble in St. Louis. And that's about it. Big weekend for me on the pro wrestling side of things. Kind of a quiet weekend in MMA. No UFC show. And then the UFC will be back next Saturday for the first Saturday in February. On the 5th, UFC back in Vegas at the Apex, Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson. Should be a hell of a middleweight fight to preview next week here on Ringside Report MMA. Thank you to everybody tuning in. Shout out to Headstrom Bacon watching us on Twitch. Thank you, Headstrom. Thank you to Miss Brooklyn Lizard out in New York. Thank you to Angelo Contagonis out in Laval. And everybody else tuning in, we appreciate you very much. And I will see you again tomorrow night right here on the Ringside Report Network.